So every person deserves clean water, clean food, clean air. You hear me say that all the time. But also access to use of the restroom and the shower. I mean, that is a given. Can I believe we got to say this on the show, but we are saying it. In California, though, some folks are or have an issue with unhoused individuals and don't necessarily care whether or not they have access to restrooms. And the crisis is taking place particularly on Skid Row, where many individuals, about 4,400 people, tragically call Skid Row home. This is their home. And those 4,400 unhoused people who call Skid Row home often have trouble finding bathrooms. This issue is absolutely tragic, and let us break it down because we want you to get an understanding here. Residents must make do with a patchwork of public bathrooms and porta potties that are operated by overlapping municipal programs, shelters, and nonprofit groups. The challenge is compounded by the fact that many toilets are shut down overnight, as if people don't have to go use the bathroom overnight. That doesn't compute for me, but this is coming from the Guardian. Thank you, Guardian. 5 years ago, a report called No Place to Go found that Skid Row had just 9 public toilets available at night for about 1,800 people then living there, 80 toilets short of the UN standard for a refugee camp. Now, Jessica, this makes no sense to me at all.
No, absolutely not. And it's crazy that we had people like Rick Caruso who ran for mayor and they were like, this guy's gonna change LA. I'm sorry, he is a billionaire landlord. His policy on his website for ending street homelessness, he didn't quite care to end homelessness. He just wanted the people off the streets because they were an inconvenience to look at and they go to the bathroom in the streets and people didn't want that. I mean, seriously, thankfully, he's not the one in office and we have someone like Karen Bass. But this is a huge racial justice issue because 8% of Los Angeles is Black. 60% of the population in Skid Row is Black. And their representative is Kevin De Leon, someone who was caught on tape saying terribly racist things, who is now fighting activists with Black Lives Matter. So the situation in LA is dire. Giving people bathrooms to use is the bare minimum, but we really need to house these people because right now we have so many vacant units and we have people who need to be housed. And instead, luxury apartment owners would rather keep rent high and maintenance low and keep those units empty. And it's inhumane at the very least.
It is a sickness that is permeating this country. This excessive greed is sickness and it is killing people. Now, while the situation has improved somewhat on Skid Row, the population has grown. There are currently about 31 toilets available at all hours. Now, the result is a vicious cycle, advocates say. Unhoused Angelenos are often left with no option but to relieve themselves outdoors, then are demonized for leaving behind human waste. Again, thank you, Mary Malin of The Guardian, for writing such a spectacular article. And let me remind you that in the late 1990s, business owners not only wanted the toilets removed, but also lobbied to make public urination illegal. Now, most people not walking around wanting to urinate on the sidewalk. Okay, let's get a grip. Most people do not want to do that. So they need a place to be able to use the bathroom. In 2006, tensions began between the city and residents escalated when in 2006, the city implemented a strategy known as Safer Cities Initiative, focused on quality of life crimes like jaywalking, littering, and public urination. So we got to find a better way to do things. Now, does anybody want to urinate on the sidewalk? Most people do not. It might be some outliers, but most people do not. So don't demonize folks who are already in challenging situations. Let's do something so they won't have to do that. And 50 additional police officers were added to a 54 square block of Skid Row as part of the initiative, and the city hauled away the existing portable toilets to prevent homeless people from loitering. Okay, they did the wrong thing. They should have kept the porta potties there, increased the porta potties, and gave people a place to be able to relieve themselves. But meanwhile, on Sunday, Karen Bass starts as Los Angeles mayor with a plan to address the homelessness crisis. That is a beautiful thing. So glad, and we're looking forward for Mayor Karen Bass to do something about this in a very humane way. We need a plan to help people. Can we do that?